Duplicate article. Processing. Spin suggestions. Unique article. Manage the spinned words as you want. A former pro linebacker, he had a long acting career that reached past the boxing ring, acting in motion films, comedies and television dramas, and incomes an Emmy nomination. Carl Weathers, who went from meting out bone-crunching hits as a linebacker for the Oakland Raiders to delivering knockout punches at the massive display as Apollo Creed, the nemesis of Sylvester Stallone's lovely lug prizefighter in Rocky, supporting to spark one in every of Hollywood's maximum successful franchises, died on Thursday. He became 76. His circle of relatives said in a declaration that he died peacefully in his sleep. The statement did not provide a purpose or say wherein he died. Mr. Weathers had a long and sundry appearing career that took him some distance beyond the boxing ring. He displayed his range over some 80 movie and TV credit. He memorably parodied himself as in performing Educate in numerous episodes of the sitcom Arrested Development. Lately, he became the voice of Combat Carl inside the lively movie Toy Story 4, and performed Greef Karga in the Star Wars television collection The Mandalorian, earning an Emmy Award nomination in 2021 for first-rate guest actor in a drama series. In advance, in the Adam Sandler golf comedy Happy Gilmore, 1996, Mr. Weathers earned laughs as Chubbs, who have been a star of the professional circuit before he lost his hand in an alligator assault. In spite of this, his Apollo Creed man or woman forged a long shadow. After the discharge in 1976 of Rocky, which became nominated for 10 Academy Awards and received 3, which includes Fine Picture, Mr. Weathers reprised his role within the subsequent 3 installments, evolving from the identify person's motor-mouthed Muhammad Ali-like rival to his relied-on buddy and instructor. His Creed got one extra shot at boxing immortality within the exuberant, if cartoonish, Rocky IV, 1985, wherein he squared off in opposition to the Soviet supervillain Drago, Dolph Lundgren, an icy, robotic mega-pugilist. Creed's superstar spangled entrance in the fateful In Shape, carrying sequins in an Uncle Sam hat whilst strutting and prancing amongst online casino showgirls as James Brown, acting as himself, belts out the anthem, dwelling in the US, seemed at the time to be an apotheosis of the morning in the US pop culture patriotism of the Reagan generation. The best vibes would now not ultimate to the cease of the collection, however, as Drago pummeled Creed to demise with a battering ram left to the jaw. Along with his signature character killed off, Mr. Weathers concerned approximately his professional destiny. After such a lot of years of doing an individual who is indelible, who's so nicely identified around the sector, humans in every language who have visible movies have visible the Rocky movies and have seen Apollo Creed, what happens could be very frequently people begin to confuse you with the man or woman, he once said in a TV interview. There's no Carl Weathers. Movie manufacturers, he added, generally tend to do the identical thing. His fears might prove unwarranted. Along with his he-guy air of secrecy and sculpted body, Mr. Weathers matched bulging biceps with Arnold Schwarzenegger inside the 1987 movement film, Predator. A year later, he leveraged his Rocky reputation to leading guy repute playing a crusading Detroit cop in Movement Jackson. Reviewing that film for the NY Instances, Walter Goodman cited that Mr. Weathers become a member of the surprisingly developed upper torso school of movie hero. Mr. Weathers chafed at such categorizations. This label of movie megastar doesn't simply have whatever to do with being a really exceptional actor or artist, he said in an interview with British GQ in 2020. Sufficient promotion of any man or woman, enough movies wherein that character receives to be shown in a particular light, can make them a movie-famous person, he continued. That doesn't suggest their chops are there as an actor to play a person that is perhaps not like them, with complicated ideas at the back of the dialogue. Carl Weathers became born on January 14, 1948, in New Orleans. He said in interviews that he'd taken into consideration appearing his past love, and that he started out acting in performs in basic school. Still, his excessive school soccer prowess led him to play protecting end for San Diego Kingdom College beneath the future NFL corridor of repute instruct Don Coryell during a bountiful year run for the Aztecs. The crew went 11-0 in 1969, despite the fact that Mr. Weathers ignored an awful lot of the season with a knee damage, all of the even as he stored his appearing desires alive, graduating with a degree in theater arts, but he additionally stored his attractions on soccer, and he became an undrafted linebacker the following 12 months for the NFL's maximum notorious wild bunch, the Raiders. An enduring profession inside the league changed into an extended shot, even though he became what we call a tweener. Raymond Chester, a decent end who had been a teammate of his, stated in an interview remaining year with Sports Activities Illustrated. Carl becomes sturdy and speedy and had right size, but he changed into small for a linebacker. Nowadays, Carl might be a protection. That could were the right role for him. He had the whole lot it took. He turned into smart, he ought to run like a deer, and he became chiseled. He became an amazing athlete. Mr. Weathers seemed in 7 games with Oakland in 1970, but the next season, in the course of an exercise after the primary recreation, he became summoned to Pierre John Madden, the Raiders' teach and destiny famous person broadcaster. He become being cut from the roster, the coach advised him, announcing, "You're just too touchy. I couldn't allow it go, guy," Mr. Weathers informed Sports Illustrated, recalling the instant. "It type of placed a chip on my shoulder on one hand, and it become like a wound on the opposite, because as a football player, surely as an expert soccer player, the last thing you need to listen is which you're too touchy. Alternatively, without that sensitivity, how should I be an actor? How ought I be an actor of any well worth, genuinely?" Entire information on survivors turned into now not immediately available. For all his blood and guts roles through the years, it changed into at the set of The Light-Hearted, Happy Gilmore, that Mr. Weathers suffered extreme harm, fracturing vertebrae in a stunt fall. Fortuitously, being an athlete and having been injured a number of times, you form of learn to live with pain, he told British GQ. Through the mid-1970s, he became making normal television appearances on indicates like Appropriate Times, Kung Fu, and The 6 Million Greenback Man. His huge wreck with Rocky became quickly to observe, although things with Mr. Stallone, who also wrote the film, did no longer get off to an easy start at the audition. There has been no one to study with, and that they said, "You're going to examine with the writer," Mr. Weathers told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015. "We read via the scene, he persevered, and at the stop of it, I didn't sense like it had sincerely sailed, that the scene had sailed, and that they were quiet, and there has been this second of awkwardness, I felt, besides. So I simply blurted out, I may want to do a lot better if you obtain me a real actor to paintings with." Mr. Stallone, it grew to become out, preferred his Apollo Creed like fire. Now and again, Mr. Weathers delivered, the errors are the ones that get you.